Tonight, local employees welcome GFG Alliance's bold new finance deal to save the steelworks. And South Australia's latest euthanasia push takes a major step forward with the bill passing in the upper house.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf Studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamain begins now.
Good evening. A refinancing deal has been struck for Sanjeev Gupta's GFG Alliance, securing the future of the Whyalla Steelworks. Employees have welcomed the news, saying it gives them confidence in the manufacturer's future.
Securing the financial lifeline on Australia's only steel manufacturer. Sanjeev Gupta's GFG Alliance announcing yesterday it has secured ongoing finance for the Whyalla Steelworks, following turmoil with failed financing company Greensill. Steelworks employees saying they feel relieved.
The future of Whyalla looks a lot better now. It's the main artery. Everything feeds off to Steelworks.
Everybody will benefit from it, especially the local contractors, and that it gives them peace of mind as well.
It's understood the refinancing deal has been struck with San Francisco-based White Oak Global Advisors, with documentation expected to be completed over the next 4 weeks.
That's very good news for the workers at the steel mill, but also all of the people who live in Whyalla.
This morning, Senator Don Farrell and the Deputy Labor leader visited the city, discussing what the party could do for the future of the steelworks.
Too often over the last 8 years we've had a federal government in drift which has taken Australian manufacturing for granted. A future Labor government absolutely understands the importance of manufacturing and will back manufacturing and steel making in this country.
The state government also welcoming the announcement, crediting the workers for the deal's success.
It's because of the work of the people in the steelworks in Whyalla who have turned that business around that GFG has been able to find a new financier.
The announcement follows months of financial uncertainty with the future of the city's largest employer, leaving thousands of jobs in the balance. But now employees remain confident.
It's better for the real estate, it's better for all the schools, the kids, the clubs. Everybody's got sort of like a firm footing now.
The Whyalla Mayor also pleased, saying the future of the city looks a lot brighter.
It's very positive for our city moving forward, and it's an absolute credit to all the staff and management at both the steelworks and at the mines, the fact that they've been able to turn the business around, make it profitable and attractive for investment. So well done.
Meanwhile, GFG Alliance was today in the New South Wales Supreme Court for its initial hearing put forward by Credit Suisse. Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
South Australia is one step closer to legalising voluntary assisted dying, with the state's upper house passing the bill late last night. In a conscious vote, MPs voted 14-7 in favour of the proposed legislation to now be debated in the lower house.
A historic and gruelling 6-hour debate, which in the end saw the bill pass the upper house.
Absolutely a huge win for us. We've been campaigning for this for a long time now.
At the stroke of midnight, 14 MPs voted in favour of South Australia's voluntary assisted dying bill and 7 against in the upper house. It'll now be handed down to the lower house where it will be debated.
I'm expecting it to be in the coming weeks, obviously, and possibly as early as next week.
It's a significant milestone. Over the past 3 decades, there have been 17 failed attempts to pass voluntary assisted dying. Member for Flinders Peter Treloar previously voted against the legislation, but says the tides are turning and will vote in favour of the bill.
My sense is that there has been a shift this time around in the community, a shift towards supporting a bill such as this.
The bill contains more than 70 safeguards and models Victoria's assisted dying legislation. If successful, it will only be available for adults who have lived in South Australia for a year and diagnosed with incurable illness.
You cannot be forced to choose this option. Yes, it's definitely a choice.
Ultimately, it's not compulsory.
But the bill still has to overcome the lower house, and while some are optimistic it'll pass, others say the fight is far from over.
We need to keep the momentum going, but this is really now all about South Australia having equality with the rest of the states.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The doors will open next week to Broken Hill's first dedicated COVID-19 vaccine clinic, with more than 200 people able to receive the jab each day. Still, local health authorities are pleading for vigilance, with more community cases reported in Sydney.
Another step forward in our fight against COVID-19, the Aged Persons Rest Centre on Glen Street to house a new vaccine clinic from Monday.
We really are looking forward to being able to take part in the vaccination program for the broader community.
The clinic will be operated by the local health district, working alongside existing services. At full capacity, 220 people could be vaccinated each day.
At the moment, we're looking at Monday to Friday. If the need is, or if there's a massive demand, we can look to certainly opening it on weekends as well.
At this stage, the clinic will only be giving the AstraZeneca vaccine to over 50s in Phase 1B and 2A. The first Pfizer jabs were given to health workers in Broken Hill yesterday, around 100 people rolling up their sleeves. Meanwhile, investigations continue into 2 new cases of community transmission in Sydney.
At least one person with the virus has been going around their business and we haven't found them yet. We don't know where they've been. We don't know if they've been to major events. We don't know who they've sat next to.
State borders remain open at this stage, but restrictions have returned for those in Greater Sydney.
Over the next 3 days, there will be compulsory mask wearing. Household visitors will be limited to 20. No singing or dancing indoors.
Spurring that familiar reminder.
Really be on the lookout and get tested, as I said. Even with the slightest of symptoms, get tested.
Lachlan Eater, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, Broken Hill police speak out against public abuse following a woman allegedly spitting blood at officers. An emergency crews rescue a traveller who fell into a cave near Streaky Bay. Welcome back. A young police officer has returned to work in Broken Hill after allegedly having blood spat at her during an arrest yesterday morning. Police labelling the incident disgusting, saying attacks on officers are all too common. Our reporter Lachlan Itter has more.
Police are sharing details of another alleged attack on officers to shine a light on the dangers they face while protecting the community. Police say they were investigating reports of a woman attempting to enter a property on Bryan Street at 2 a.m. yesterday. They say they found a woman hiding inside a home who then allegedly turned on officers.
When they were initially engaging with this lady, she thought she'd take it upon herself to cough in the face of the police officer and claim that she had the coronavirus.
The situation escalating when officers tried to remove her from a police car.
Police have gone there to assist someone and whilst doing that have been assaulted by being spat at with blood and saliva. Just disgusting.
The 23-year-old accused was taken to hospital before being charged with 2 counts of assault police. The officers were treated at the scene and underwent testing.
They turn up to work. Even after this, they turn up to work and serve the community again.
This incident the latest in a string of alleged violence towards officers. Less than a fortnight ago, police claim a driver deliberately drove at them in an apparently unprovoked attack.
It's not something that's increasing, it's just something that I've tried to shine a light on, the dangers and the incidents that my officers face when they turn up to work every day.
The woman accused of this latest incident has been granted bail to reappear in court at a later date.
A frightened resident in Lock says he's under siege, with thugs pelting missiles at his property, the latest attack happening last night. He says he's fearful they'll strike again and is now even looking to move town.
In the dead of night, a brazen attack. A rock is lobbed at this Lock home as a hooded gang casually walks by.
And so we just went outside and found the rock sitting on our front veranda.
Security vision captured the attack just after 6:30 last night, but it didn't stop there. Half an hour later, another rock is launched at the front door. The frightened owner says it's an ongoing problem, the group targeting the home for weeks.
We're probably it's going to happen again, and it's going to happen again.
He says the house has been pelted by rocks and eggs 3 times in as many months.
It does make you feel that you can't live here.
Cameron Guy and his wife moved to Lock last December and believes they're being targeted because they're outsiders. Fearful the thugs will strike again, he says he'll be upgrading the security system with new cameras.
They're going to actually be put up where there's blind spots.
But if that doesn't work, he says they may consider moving town.
It makes me feel that we should move. That's the indirect message.
The vision has been handed over to police. Investigations are ongoing. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A woman had to be rescued after sustaining injuries due to slipping and falling at Talia Caves yesterday. The alarm was raised just after 10 yesterday morning after reports a tourist had fallen onto rocks at the popular Woolshed Cave. Authorities raced to the scene and managed to carry the patient out of the area. She was transported to Elliston and then airlifted to Adelaide. Authorities say it's the second rescue operation they've been called to at the caves in 3 months. Broken Hill locals are being encouraged to have their say on Council's draft budget with information sessions held on Monday. One of the major changes, an 11% increase to business rates designed to counter significant rises in industrial land values. The budget would also see more than $7 million spent upgrading roads, footpaths and parks. A deficit of $550,000 is forecast, with council saying it's on track to return to surplus by 2023. Meanwhile, businesses are being told to unite and to capitalise on the upcoming Broken Hill Mundi Bash. Meetings will be held later this month to give businesses a chance to discuss the new event with organisers and council representatives. Plans will be put on the table to ensure as many of the 10,000 festival goers make their way into the CBD, with hopes to promote Broken Hill as a must-see destination. Organisers expect the bash to inject more than $10 million into the local economy. Stay with us after the break. Local poochers prepare to pound the pavement for Port Pirie's Million Paws Walk, and the latest push to get more Port Augusta girls playing local football. Hello again. The latest state government crop and pasture report has revealed the 2020 to 2021 harvest has finished with the second most lucrative crop on record in South Australia, reaching $2.5 billion in farm gate value from 9.14 million tonnes, around 16% above the long-term average. The results are only second to the 2010 to 2011 $2.7 billion record value crop. It's positive news for farmers who are now waiting for opening rains to get the next season off to a good start. Locals and their poochers are being encouraged to register for this year's Million Paws Walk, set to return to Port Pirie on Sunday, May 16. It's one of 3 walks happening in the state, with all funds raised going towards preventing animal cruelty. Each year, around 250,000 animals end up at the RSPCA in desperate need of urgent care. The announcement is already being welcomed across the region following a tough COVID year. Registrations are now open online, with on-the-day registrations open from 8 a.m. Port Augusta is set to welcome its first junior girls footy competition, giving more young women the opportunity to play the sport locally. Organisers are preparing to host a come and try day later this month, with those interested encouraged to help get the competition off the ground.
Clubs uniting, seeing the future of girls footy get off the ground in Port Augusta.
Last year when netball wasn't being played, we sought out a bit of expressions of interest, I suppose, from the young girls, whether they'd be interested in playing football, and we were overwhelmed with the response of that.
For these players, having a kick together in competition has never been an option until now.
My brother's always played and I've just watched him, and I've always wanted the opportunity. My family has been really involved around football for a long time, and my dad's a part of the club. And I've been playing since I was born, so it's kind of a part of me.
Different from netball and basketball, where you have to just stay back off your player, but here you can tackle them and have fun.
They're grabbing the opportunity with both hands, saying they're finally able to break the stigma around footy being a boys' sport.
So the boys can see that girls can play, and that it's not, oh yeah, well look, there's one girl on the football field, she's going to be weak. You know, they can actually see how we actually play. Finally showing that we can do stuff what they can do.
It's very exciting, and it'd be great to see some of these girls playing AFLW one day.
Interested players are being encouraged to attend a Come and Try Day on May 16.
Everyone's welcome to come from under 11s, 13s and 16s, and yeah, hopefully we get a fair bit of interest out of that and get the girls into a team.
Because I think a lot of us girls really like football, and if there's not enough people, we can't have like a real sort of game, so we would like for people to come out.
More information can be found online. Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. Our fishing experts will join us with their tips for the weekend. And we'll have the weather details with Alex. Welcome back. It's that time of the week again where we hear from our top fishing experts on what's biting out in the Gulf waters this weekend.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Augusta, Jewel of the North. Well, season's certainly changed. It's got a little bit colder now. The first few whales have been spotted down near off Kangaroo Island, so you can bet in the next couple of weeks that there may be one seen up here as well. King George whiting's certainly on the bite at the moment. There's a few Tommy Ruffs up and around the trees during the night. Silver whiting still can be found, but not in great numbers, and the squid are just about everywhere. There's still some crabs to be found. Try it around number 9 bank. There's first 10 minutes, wait for the first pull, and then you'll start getting a few. Razorfish are still good out in the middle banks, and there's a few snook to be had on the troll. That's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
Hi, Whalers fishing tips this week. A fair few squid starting to move into the Whaler grounds. Best areas to try have been the local jetty. Late in the evening has been the best time. For the boats down towards Mount Young, really good numbers of squid running there. For the boats willing to venture out a bit further, down towards the Shotgun Alley along the channel markers, there's been nice numbers of kingfish. So get in nice and close to those channel markers. There's been some really nice fish holding amongst them. Best to be using jigs or live bait. Live squid have been the key. A little bit further around north of Whaler, Point Lowly, been some good salmon schools holding up there.
Welcome another week around the Gulf fishing tips from Port Pirie. I can't believe this. I've had later reports saying that there's blue swimmer crabs still out there and a good feed to be had. So some of those deeper spots that we usually run, and I guess crabs still stick around all year round, but around in the deeper spots you'll be able to find yourself a feed. King George whiting are starting to come on song, so that's a great opportunity as well. And we're seeing some squid starting to flow through, particularly around the Third Creek, Fourth Creek area. You'll find yourself some, and the top end of Cockle Spit should be pretty well fine. We've also seen salmon starting to float through, so you just need to burley up a little bit and watch out for the hook up on those fellas, because they'll be down the bottom and fight pretty hard. But remember, always teach your kids to fish for salmon. That's all we got this week. We'll see you next week.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Squid have been a pretty popular target over the past week, and there has been some good catches caught by boats fishing in our local bays, but also off the town jetty first thing in the morning. There's also been some nice garfish caught off of the town jetty and also by local boaties up around Boston Island and along the North Shore. Best whiting reports have come from the passage, so it looks like the fish are starting to move over those cool water grounds. There have been some fish caught from Taylor's Landing, along with quite a few red mullet in that area as well. Also deep in the passage, there has been some gummy sharks caught down there. Moving over to Coffin Bay, there's been some whiting reports around the racks inside the bay system. And out wide of Coffins, there's still some Samson fish and a few kingfish on the reefs out wide. Well, that's all for this week. We'll see you again with more tips next week.
Now let's take a look at what's happening in the weather with the weekend fast approaching. Here's Alex Sykes with the details.
Thanks, Ruby, and good evening, everyone. Cloudy conditions across most of the Gulf today, with temperatures mainly in the low to mid-20s. From 3 p.m. today, Broken Hill was 19 degrees, Port Pirie got to 24 and Clare was 22. Looking further out across the region now, Port Augusta and Whyalla were both 25, Port Lincoln and Woodner were both 23, Kadina and Cleve both got to a high of 24. Cooper Pedy was mostly sunny and reached 26. And if you're in Adelaide, it was 21 degrees there. Taking a look at the satellite image now, cloud pushing across southern and southeastern South Australia with a trough is causing some showers. High jet stream cloud about the northwest is not rain bearing. Clearer skies elsewhere with a drier air mass and ridge of high pressure. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Northeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, turning northerly during the day. Seas around 1 metre, increasing to 1.5 metres south of Port Neal to Port Victoria, and south to southwesterly swell below 1 metre. There are no warnings for South Australia currently. Mainly fine day forecast tomorrow. Port Lincoln and Cleve both partly cloudy and 23 degrees. Woodnut is set to reach a high of 25. While a partly cloudy 24, Port Augusta will get to a high of 26 degrees, Kadina 23, Port Pirie partly cloudy 25, Clare 23, and Broken Hill will be mostly sunny and 24 degrees. Taking a look at the weekend forecast now, with the return of sport in the Gulf set to be dampened with some wet conditions. Showers across the region. Cooper Pedy, Kadina, Port Lincoln, Whale and Adelaide all set to reach 21 degrees. Broken Hill to top 18, Woodnut 23. Clearing up on Sunday with not a drop of rain in sight, but cloudy conditions across the Gulf. 23 will be the region's top in Port Augusta and Port Pirie, and Adelaide will be a mild 20 degrees if you are heading there. And taking a look to next week's forecast, rain will return for Port Pirie, Kadina, Woodnut, Port Lincoln and Adelaide. Partly cloudy across the rest of the region. 21 degrees will be the region's top, while 18 will be the low. So Ruby, a bit of a mixed bag there, conditions-wise over the next few days. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. Back to you.
Wonderful, thanks for that, Alex. And that's our local news this Thursday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening, and myself and the team will join you again tomorrow with more local news. Good night.